Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Franklin. Franklin is from Malta, but he lives in London. So let's see what Franklin has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello.
There you go. I can hear you now. Hello.
Hello,
How are
Franklin.
you?
How are you? I'm very well. How are you doing today?
I'm very good. I'm very good. I woke up, meditated, and done a lot some cleaning, and yeah, I feel really good. A lot of muscle ache because I started Kung Fu, but I feel great.
So how often do you do meditation?
I
Every
try
day?
to do it every day, but I've been a bit disconnected lately. I used to do it all the time because I'm originally from Malta, but I live in London now. Um, yeah, basically, I used to be very connected to it. I used to have a community in Malta and used to do a lot of sound healing, and I have all the instruments and all that in Malta. But yeah, in England, I've been a bit disconnected because living in London can be a bit tough, you know.
Uh-huh.
You're either successful or homeless. So, but yeah, I feel like I joined a Buddhist community. I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual, I would say. And yeah, I started Kung Fu, and I feel like much better now. You know, I feel like I'm getting somewhere, like meeting people, and you know.
And as you mentioned about you are from Malta, and why London? Why the move to London?
So that's a complicated question for someone like me because I'm very spontaneous. And I was in Malta, I was sick, and I was going through a bit of depression because I had a breakup, and I spent three months nearly in a big dark time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want anyone next to me. I was going through a bit of a dark era, I would say, because it was really tough. I didn't want to eat, I didn't want to drink, I didn't want to nothing.
Wow.
And somehow the only thing I could do is just turn the TV on and listen to Sadhguru. And also I started going through deep meditation. So I used to just lay on the sofa. I didn't go off the sofa. The only time I got off the sofa is just to use the toilet and sometimes to eat a bit, but I couldn't eat a lot because I got put off everything, including
Wow.
my own family, my dog. I was literally, my energy was drained. And yeah, I just went into this really big meditation. I used to meditate for 4 hours straight, even more sometimes. Yeah. And basically, after that, I started healing and I was started writing a book. And yeah, I think I started watching like British movies again. And somehow I was dreaming of England again because I lived here before.
Uh-huh.
And I was really getting into writing, acting. I've always been into acting since I was young. But I was like, I think it's time for a change. It's time to be in connection with nature and like find stuff. I mean, obviously, it's all in here because when you're in London, it's not as easy as it sounds. Like you're like, oh, I'm moving to England because Harry Potter was filmed there, you know. So it's like I'm gonna live the same life as Harry Potter. No, I'm joking, but it's like the music and the atmosphere and the things that happen in England are very different than in my country.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was just spontaneous. I said I want to be able to write my book on a train. And yeah, I just love being. I'm the type of person that's very creative, but I have to be moving a lot. Like I'm a bit hyperactive, so I can't really sit down and think all the time unless I'm meditating. So the idea of being on a train for hours and just writing on a laptop was a good idea for me. But obviously now I don't really write the book anymore. I do other things. So, but here I am now. You know, it's been a roller coaster, and I'm quite happy now living in London and very grateful, you know, of life in a way.
I'm glad that you found a peaceful place to be in London. You kind of disconnect a little bit from your past, and now you are enjoying
Yeah.
life. And I think that's the best part. Sometimes we need to go to another place to try to find our past again. You know what I mean? It's parts of the journey, the healing as well. I think sometimes you just need to
Always.
go. Absolutely. Franklin, so tell me, as you mentioned, you are an actor. Yeah, so tell me a little bit about your career, how everything started.
So basically, I've always been into acting because my grandpa has one of a very big collection in Europe. He's currently a bit sad because he had cancer and he can't walk anymore, so he can't go into his cinema. But I grew up watching like 1930s movies and Laurel and Hardy, Three Stooges, and I appreciated, like as a kid, I appreciated the old stuff. So like if you write my grandpa's name, Andrew Borda, you see it. Like there's documentaries and all that about him. And yeah, like I guess that's what motivated me in the movies, and also the fact that I have a lot of imagination. I used to just listen to soundtracks, and in my mind, just while I'm traveling, I could imagine a whole scene. So my main thing is to be a film producer, but that kind of made me give up because you need a lot of money for equipment and all that. So I said I'll start slow, and I just could see myself more as an actor for now, until I'm old and not able to be in front of the camera. But yeah, I started as an extra also. I used to go on like loads of movies extra, like popular movies, but as an extra, you can't really tell people, oh, I've been an extra and this and that, because it doesn't really count. For some people it does, but for all these other people it doesn't. So, and yeah, basically, eventually I started getting like bigger roles. It was my dream. I was really like going, my life has always been an upside down, so it's always been a lot of darkness, and somehow I get a bit of light. So yeah, you know, it's like I'm always looking at the light at the end of the tunnel, no matter how dark life gets, you know. And yeah, I was manifesting a lot. So like my meditation, I was just inviting that energy to me. And at first I was like, this is going to be hard, it's not going to work, because obviously I was new to all this. And then I've actually got some roles, moved to England. Not this was a long time ago. Went through another tough time where I didn't really have enough money for anything. And I was kind of like learning more about the law of attraction, and it kind of taught me so much about how we are the projector of our world. And yeah, basically it's just like things started coming up eventually. You know, I started photography and I started connecting to people. And then when I moved to England again, this time, I started getting loads of opportunities in Malta. So I was on Jurassic World. I just came back from Ridley Scott. I was on Napoleon also, the movie. I was on a movie called Project Tycoon. It's called Project Tycoon because it doesn't have a name yet. So yeah, I met a lot of amazing actors that I'm really grateful of, like Phoenix, and yeah, met many actors that made me happy, you know, and inspired me to be the person I want to be. I was like, if someone else is able to do this, why can't I, you know? So yeah, it's just been on and off, you know. Sometimes I'm like, it's not gonna work. But lately I've been having this energy that I need to keep trying, and I need to keep trying because my vision is there, you know. I feel like one day it will eventually happen. But being in London is hard with having a 40-hour job. And now that I have kind of a job where I'm happy in, I'm kind of like denying a lot of acting experience, a lot of acting jobs. But I think once I save enough money and I'm comfortable, I will start trying to go into more into them and be a bit of a risk taker again.
Yeah.
But for now, since I'm living in London, I need to kind of be a bit more cautious and see what I'm doing, you know. I think I went a bit out of subject. Sorry, I have a habit of doing that.
It's okay. That's okay. You're just it's amazing to see someone, you know what I mean, try and try. That's the main thing of life. You try, sometimes you give a break, sometimes you try again, but the main thing is keep trying, never stop, never stop. Life is like
Exactly.
posters, it's up and down, but the main thing is you cannot stop. You need to keep going all the time. That's the main thing about life. All right,
Always.
Franklin, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views? Yes?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best friend. Okay, full of random fun questions. I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first
Sure.
question. Okay, let's do it. All right, Franklin. So before we start the game, through the journey, if comes up a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay? It's all very friendly. Cool? First question for you is, what three things do you want to be remembered for?
Okay. Without sounding egoistic, I think the fact that I try to see beauty in everything and everyone, no matter how a person is, because I understand the power of the heart. So I think kindness, I guess, or empathy, one of them. Second, it's like empathy and kindness, because they're kind of the same.
Yeah.
I think hopefully one day for the movies or anything artistic, so something that would inspire people to love nature and the world more and to understand humanity. So empathy, movies, I guess, and I'm trying to think because they all fall under empathy, to be honest. But I guess kindness, empathy is the same. Movies and maybe love, but I don't know if that falls under the same thing, you know? I just want to be a person where I can share love and make people, because I feel like the world is such in a dark place at the moment and people are so disconnected without sounding horrible. But I feel like the world needs more love and needs more smiling. I'm always smiling to people. And the older I get, the more it makes me uncomfortable because you know, when the older you are and smiling to random people, they're like, why is he smiling? He's not young anymore. But I'm always smiling, you know, people just think I'm fake sometimes because I'm smiling and I'm myself, you know. So yeah, hopefully those three, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. You covered all of them. I think kindness, someone who will always show their love and their smile, and about your passion, about your movies career. Why not? I think that's things that people you always remember for sure. Next question, let's do it. Okay, Franklin from Malta. Next question for you is, what is your most embarrassing moment?
I mean, there's loads, but the thing is, some of them are so basic that it's stupid. I'm trying to find the worst embarrassing moment I had, you know? I can't just say serving something as a waiter and dropping a glass on a customer, because could I use that? Because I think that's actually a good one.
Of course it is embarrassing.
Yeah, I guess I was working as a barman and I had like 8 pints of Peroni on my tray. And it's a really busy place. I used to live back in Essex in the on-sea, and I'm usually a barman, so I don't serve. But there was this really cool man, like with suit and formal and all that, and I was serving his table. And he was just looking at me. I was like, "Oh, hello, how are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm fine, I'm fine." And I was like, "I like your outfit." And as soon as I said, "I like your outfit," I went to serve the first drink, and the whole tray just went on his outfit. And I was like, oh my God, I'm really sorry. He's like, at first he was shocked and he was like, it's okay, it's fine. I was like, oh, thank God he's a nice guy. But yeah, I think that was embarrassing because everyone was looking and I was like, I just complimented his outfit. So that's going to look like I'm jealous of his outfit or something. But I wasn't. I'm not a jealous person, but it just happens, you know, when you're serving, you need to make sure you're concentrating on the tray because sometimes when you're serving, you do this. And it's really like scary. I'm used to it now, but this was at the beginning of my waitering, bartending career, I guess.
I think I've seen so many videos on YouTube, like people like dropping glasses, like in the restaurants, or I've seen so many. They do like a compilation sometimes, a compilation of different occasions. It's just so hilarious. You have no idea. I remember this one guy. He went to pick up from the bar like. A tray with a lot of pints on there, and suddenly, I don't know, he tried, one of them started being bubbly, and he tried to save this one, and all of them just fall on the floor.
Yeah, that's what happens. So that's why I need to have a hand always available, but it doesn't really help either.
So funny. Next one, let's do it. Franklin, before the next question, tell me, what do you like the most about being an actor? What's the best part of it? And there's always a challenging part. What that would be?
Okay, so basically, I think for me, I find acting easy, not always easy, because it depends on the role, depends on the accents I have to do and all this. But for me, life is an life is a movie, so I feel like I'm always in an act. But at the same time, I am pure at heart. So it means when you say you're an actor, I think this is the hardest part actually, especially dating. When you say you're an actor, people think you're a fake person because you know how to act. And that's one thing about me. I am very honest and I'm very straightforward sometimes, not always. But what I mean is, like, if I'm comfortable enough, I'll be very straightforward. So I think that's the challenge part of it, when you say you're an actor and people think you're fake because you can act. But in reality, I'm very pure, as in, like, my face especially is very expressive. So
Mhm.
sometimes I don't even know that I'm looking sad or angry, and it's just there, you know. It's because it's just I don't wear masks. Sometimes you should and you need to in certain places, but I'm just so not into it. And sometimes at work, for example, when I had past jobs and I wasn't really happy, and I was like, okay, I am gonna act as Captain Jack Sparrow, for example, because a lot of people say you're not seeing it now, but when I have my hair down, they say like Johnny Depp or whatever. And one of my friends told me, just remember, you're Captain Jack Sparrow. You don't get. So I just wear like the headphones. I listen to the song and I just get into the mood, and I'm like, yep. But it doesn't always work, because then after like half an hour, it's like I'm back to me, you know. And that's the challenging part. What was the first one? So,
What do you like the most? What the best part of acting?
oh, I think the best part is just, yeah, just being able to be someone else for a while, you know, just switching into a different dimension and a different world. Like, especially being on a movie set, and you know, I'm a person that likes history. So, like Napoleon, for example, I can't really speak about it yet because it's not out. So I'm contracted not to say anything. But basically, yes, like, let's use another movie, like a World War II movie that I was in. It just makes you feel like such in the scene sometimes, because it was like a lot of props. Usually, a lot of movies have green screens, but this one had just like real stuff, like, well, not real cannons and all that, but you just feel like you're in actually in those time, you know, like in 1945 or like World War One, or so that's one thing that I really enjoy, just being in a different dimension, you know. Sometimes it's nice to escape from the 2022 and just go into a different era. I guess that's why I meditate also, so I can travel in time. Meditation and acting is like a perfect skill together.
Mhm.
So yeah, I guess that's it. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Good one. Next question for you is, what do you think is a good age to start dating and why?
Oh God, that's a tough question, because I always have such a with dating. I'm not very fond of it nowadays. It's so hard because I find it like you have all these applications, and it's just always repetitive. So it's like people are like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And then, "Hey, how are you?" It's just repetitive. So unless you meet a really special person that's like starts the conversation with the whole Bible, and it's like, "Oh, I love the fact that you stargazing and sunsets and photography," and sometimes it can get energy draining when you're talking too much. But I kind of like that. So yeah, but I think the perfect age, it's tricky, because when you're younger, you have more hope, you have more imagination, you have more that type of movie love, where you say, "Oh, I'm gonna fall in love, I'm gonna faint one day, and the guy is gonna, or girl, whatever, is gonna catch you in their arms." In reality, that's only in movies. I mean, it does happen, but unfortunately, when that happens, most of the time, the people are not real. You know, they're just, you know. Sometimes the more real the love is, the more, not narcissistic, but it's, I don't know, it's, I guess it's from my experience, because I experienced like a lot of movie loving experiences that end up really wrong. So nowadays with love, I take it really slow, and yeah, it's tough, I think. So that is a hard question for me, because I'm confident and I'm the type of person that I'm very independent. So with a person or not, I'm quite happy. uh, but yeah, I think for the new generation, I think they need to enjoy their life first, and then maybe at 18, 19, or maybe even older, I think the older you are, the better, because they have experience. I mean, you can't really create experience without experience it. So I guess it's good to experience it at a young age. But I don't like the fact that sometimes you go into a relationship for a very long time since you're really young and you don't really get time to find yourself, because a lot of people go in relationships and they are not ready. They find someone so it can complete them. But in reality, they're not completed, because you are completed when you find yourself, and then that person is just a bonus, you know? And usually people think it's the other way around. So yeah, it's a tricky question, but I think the older you are, the better. Well, not older, but like 20s, 30s, you know?
Absolutely,
Not
absolutely.
12.
I agree. I think you need to try. You need to, you know what I mean, to meet people, to see different people. That's the way, because you're gonna find yourself first, and after you're gonna find someone meant to be for you. You need to get to know yourself first. You need to make mistakes. You need to enjoy life. You need to enjoy, you know, having intimacy with people and see how things go until one point you feel like, okay, but it comes natural. I think everything comes natural.
Always, exactly.
Next question. Let's do it. Hey, Franklin, next question for you is, what is the most beautiful thing someone has ever said to you?
That's beautiful, because to be honest, sometimes when I'm having like the downtime, when like winter is like depressing and I'm like in depression, I guess. Sometimes I receive these messages from nowhere, and I think it's just the fact that sometimes they say like that I'm a fighter, and it's like, I don't know, you know, I find it hard to say it because I'm not a person of ego. I mean, everyone has ego. I'm sure I have ego too, but I find it hard to express these sometimes, because it's like I don't want to look like but yeah, sometimes I just get messages that, you know, like one of the most beautiful messages actually was from a movie set that I met. There was this lady and we became friends. She visited me in London actually, and she's lovely, she's beautiful, she's such a talented person. She does costumes, and she told me I think she noticed I'm a bit down, and she told me, Franklin, I have to tell you this. She told me, when I saw you smiling at everyone, and I thought you were really fake. She told me, but when I got to know you, I've realized that you are so pure of heart that made me really attached to you as a friend, of course. And she told me not to give up, and she told me that I have a golden heart, and that made me feel really good, you know. And I get frequent messages, not frequent, but I do get messages like that sometimes, especially when I'm down. So I think that's what motivates me. But I'm always giving compliments also. So I guess the universe always gives you back what you get, get, you know. So yeah, I think that's one of the beautiful messages. There's long ones, but I don't remember them by heart. So
yeah, I think when you receive those genuine messages from people like just met you, just found it makes special because they don't know you very well, but they can see some light or some beauty in there. That's the best compliments for sure.
It's true.
Ready for another one?
Yes, always.
Do it.
Keep it going.
Okay, before the next question, I never been Malta before. Yeah, tell me, what's the postcard of Malta? When I come to Malta for the very first time, what's the place that I should see it? I should visit something that's a must?
That's a very good question. So Malta is a beautiful island. Unfortunately, I do have my negativity about it, because like when I was younger, it was so beautiful. It was like, you know, land everywhere, trees, and I mean, this is rock, so the trees don't go as big as in London. But unfortunately nowadays, I'm not afraid to show it. I'm supposed to be positive of my country, which I am, but I'm going to explain some of the negative things as a person that's Maltese. I think I don't agree with the fact that they're building too much, that they're painting the buildings all gray. I have no idea what the problem is with painting gray buildings and flats, because for me it's more depressing. I think the world should be a bit more colorful, more nature, less minimalistic, because I think every person is a different character. As you can see, my room is, everywhere I live, it's always like a bit me. You know, I can't live in a place that's minimalistic. I mean, I could, but you know, I try to put my character in everything. So yeah, I think some things are like that. It's just the fact that it's money hungry, like every other places in the world. So is London, so is England, so is any other place in the world. But I think that's some of the negative things about Malta, and the fact that there's not much respect towards nature. But the things I love about Malta, which is good, we do have straightforward people, which is good and not sometimes. So people can be, if you're a foreigner, especially, we're a very kind people as Maltese people. The Maltese hearts are very welcoming. You know, if you speak to someone, they speak to you back. Um, there could be some racism sometimes, unfortunately, which I don't like because I've grown up with like very multicultural stuff. So I grew up with a Chinese neighbor. One of my best friends was black. I had loads of things that, you know, when I grew up, I was like, I'm very accepted. I accept everyone. So that could be an issue also. The fact that, you know, it could be a bit closed-minded with certain things. But I think the places you need to see is Mdina. It's our old capital city. It's where Game of Thrones was filmed and many other movies. Jurassic World Dominion was filmed, most of it in Malta, because it's out now, so I can talk about it. But yeah, you should see. As I said, I'm not religious, even though I grew up in a very Roman Catholic religion. But you should see most of the churches, because although I don't agree that they look really rich from the inside, because churches should be all about charity, but they are beautiful, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, I guess. But yeah, you need to visit the churches just to see the art and the history of it. Mdina, as I said, Valletta is the capital city currently, which there is interesting places, but you know, now it's a bit different, I guess. But my favorite place to go in Malta usually is to get my car, go to Dingy Cliffs and just see the sunset. Dingy Cliffs are like a massive place. There's just hill, like a massive hill. You can see the water underneath, and you can see the sunset setting on the sea, which gives me a lot of like happiness. You know, I love stargazing and sunsets, but I don't know. That's not really as a tourist advice, to be honest. I could have given you better advice, but like Blue Lagoon also, but it's very crowded. But Blue Lagoon is a very crystal clear blue sea.
Wow.
And you have the island here. So you have Malta, you have Camino, you have a small island across, and then you have Gozo. And usually you go there. But now, unfortunately, it's not as nice because there's a lot of like people selling these pineapples and deck chairs everywhere. So they made it monetized, and now it's ruined. There's a lot of dirty stuff, people littering, rats everywhere. So unfortunately, as I said, it's beautiful. You see it on the pictures and the videos as beautiful, but the reality of it is not as good. But then there's a company called Graffiti that are doing their best to like keep Malta as certain things like protecting the environment, and all that. So I'm really grateful for people like this that are fighting for countries and for the environment, or cleaning the oceans and stuff like that. Sorry, I went out of subject again.
Not a problem, not a problem. I'm just proud talking about your place where you
Yeah, I
come from.
want to make sure I people know I love, because sometimes I go so deep into the negativity of it, which I'm usually focused on the positive. But I am so angry at how humans became. You know, we're like destroying history. We're destroying trees that are thousands of years, and people forgot all about energy and all about the beauty of being a human. You know, and everyone's becoming like a robot nowadays. So sometimes I do have to express the reality of what I feel deep down, because it will make people hate me, but hopefully those that understand would say, okay, actually, this is an issue of this island, because people are just money hungry and they're destroying like things that makes Malta Malta, just like in England. There's things that makes England England, like chimneys. For me, I know they're bad for the environment, but I love the chimneys, you know? I love the smell of the chimney. It makes me realize I'm in England. I know it's a stupid thing, but even like being on a train, you know, we don't have trains in Malta, so being on a train is like, yes, I'm in England, you know, especially a steam train.
That's funny. Right. So next question for you is: where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Oh, I love that question. So actually, in 5 years, I always had this thing since I was a young person, because I'm very into shamanism and meditation, as you can see. So I always had this vision, but by the age of 35, I see myself independent and doing movies, which I mean Hollywood movies, because sometimes when I say movies, they're like, oh, what type of movies? I'm like, oh my God, no, not that type of movies. At least not yet, anyway. I don't know what's happening in the future, but for now, I'm not really into that. But yeah, hopefully in 5 years, I'll be a nomad, basically. I really want to be able to travel the world, build a caravan, and maybe if I don't have to go to work and just be acting and doing stuff and, you know, being, I wouldn't say famous because I hate that word. It's up to the universe, whatever happens then. But I want to be comfortable. So I want to be comfortable with work, doing my own things, having no one telling me what to do apart from the film product producer, obviously. That's something I have to do, but it is rewarding at least. You know, you're gonna get money, you know, you're gonna get, you know, freedom at the same time, unless you're obviously in big movies and then you can't go even for a coffee because people are gonna bother you. But that's something you have to be ready as for as anyway. But that's what I see myself. 5 years, I want to be able to live in a caravan, independent, maybe get a dog, because that's one thing I would love, just to have a companion in my life. And just being free, you know, just being free of the robotic world and being able to focus on my energy without having to switch my brain into work mode and robotic world, you know. I think that's kind of some of it without going into so much detail.
Amazing. I think you are planning your life, and the things will, you know, you're gonna get together, everything for sure.
Yeah, I want to travel the world for sure, because I think while I'm here in this body, at least, you know, whatever happens after incarnation, heaven, hell, I don't care. I'm very present.
Franklin, I have 3 questions left for you, okay? Let's do it. Next question for you is, if you could spend an entire day with a family member, who that would be and why?
With a family member?
Yeah.
Alive or dead?
Either way.
Okay. With family member, I think will be my mother, because my mother is like, it's like my rock, you know. My mom is everything to me. She's always been there for me. So did my dad. I had quite a tough upbringing with my father, unfortunately. But, you know, some men in those times were very like, oh, I'm a man, and so you grow up in this toxic environment where you think you have to be a man. And, you know, as a person of meditation, I know we have to communicate with our feminine and masculine energy, whether you're straight, gay, lesbian, trans, non-binary nowadays. So yeah, I guess it's my mom, because yeah, my mom's like my rock, as I said before, and I feel like she understands me very well. She's very open. I can talk to her about anything if I had a date in details, and I'm not really afraid to share anything with my mom, because my mom's open-minded and she understands me very well. You know, she knows what I go through. She worries a lot about me, but hopefully now she's much better because I have my own age. And the funny thing about me is, because, you know, everyone suffers from mental health. I'm not going to go in detail, but when I was younger, I used to go to speech therapy because they thought I'm mute. Now I obviously don't stop talking. And the person that, the doctor, the psychologist, whatever, she was like, oh, you're going to have an issue with this boy because he's always going to be very attached to you. And my mom laughs at it nowadays. She's like, she was so wrong, because you like moved to London, you know, and especially being, okay, I have to open about it, I guess. I can tell you, I'm, you know, everyone has mental health issues, especially in these generations, but ADHD, and like you have the spectrum of autism and all this depression and all that. I don't really want to go in detail because I don't tag myself as one, but as a kid, unfortunately, I had to go through that tagging and all that. But I guess, yeah, that's what makes me proud. It's sad to be away from my mom. So that's why I chose my mom, because my mom is my happiness, my rock, my sun, my moon, and my universe, actually. So yeah, I feel like I should pick my mom, because if family member, that's the best option, I guess, as a family member. If you told me someone else, like, you know, someone famous or like a person of the past, or I'll have loads of people to have a conversation with, you know. But as a family member, yeah, that's a good option.
What's your mom's name?
My mom's name is Monica.
Monica, your son is very proud of you. I'm sure she's smiling now watching this interview, for sure.
My mom's like me. I'm actually, we look alike without the beard, of course. And she's a bit blonde, as in like the color, not as in mentality. But yeah, my mom's always smiling, you know. So I guess we're like, I'm like her, because I was going to say she's like me, but I was born after. So yeah, obviously.
2 questions left for you.
No, I want more.
Oh, next one. Let's do it. All right. Next question is: what would be your ideal day?
Oh. Oh my God, that's going to take me an hour of explanation. No, I'm joking. I think my ideal date would be not someone from Grindr for sure, even though I'm on it, but my ideal date would be not even from a club or a bar, actually. Like, in England it's hard, but let's say I'm somewhere like chilling, you know, just watching the sunset or something, and someone just comes talking to you, and like you just have a conversation, and you know, there's a communication and there's a connection, and like the moon is setting up. It's like a movie, you know, the moon is setting up and you're just having a good conversation. So I think a good date would be something spontaneous, you know, like you're not expecting it to happen, and you meet a special person, and then you keep on meeting them, and then you go on adventures. So yeah, for me, an ideal date would be not like like let's go to a restaurant. That's boring because everyone does it. For me, it's like a hike, or going in nature, going in the woods for an adventure. That sounds really bad, but I don't mean it in that way. Going to eat somewhere, okay. You can go to London to go to a nice restaurant. Yep, that's an ideal date also. But I am more after like the elements, you know. I like to communicate with the person and the elements. So it's like the sun, the moon, and being outside, being away from people, and just enjoying each other as a communication. I don't mean it in another way. If that happens, then fine. But you know, I don't think I answered that question properly. But I don't know. I'm very into like seeing the sunset with someone else, you know, and feeling the presence of someone else, someone's energy, and seeing the elements from hot to cold just changing, you know. I'm a very deep person, I guess. So that's why I say things that people find weird sometimes. I'm like, sorry.
The right person might be watching the interview right now and gonna go like, oh my God, I love the way he thinks. I love the way he approaches life. Never know.
I do. The good thing about me is that I'm an ambivert. So I'm very extroverted. I can communicate a lot. I love talking to people. But then I have my introvert. So I have my time where I just love being inside, not talking to anyone. Not talking to anyone. If someone talks to me, I'm going to talk back. But I do like my me time, which I mean reading books, going in nature, finding a tree, putting my spine to it, and just reading a book, watching movies. And then I have my crazy days where everyone's like, wow, I didn't know you're such a partier. You know, they see me in a club and they're like, I didn't know you like techno. I thought you were on classical music and meditation. I'm like, I'm a person of a lot of dimensions. So I can be from a chav to a meditation person. Is like, yeah, I change a lot, but it's not because I'm fake. It's because I wake up and I feel like that type of person. So it's very hard for people to accept that because they kind of get confused of who is this person. But I think that's what's beautiful about it. You know, life is so full of adventure, so full of mysterious things that you need to explore, because just being one person is eventually going to get bored. So I'm always looking for some more adrenaline, you know, to keep me going. And yeah.
Amazing. Ready for the last one?
Yes.
Last question.
Sorry.
Do it, Frank. Right. Last question for you is, if you met someone sad in the streets, what would be your approach to this person? What would you say to this person?
If I met someone sad on the street,
Yeah,
Oh my
what would you
God,
say?
that's an amazing question because I do experience that. I mean, living in London is a bit harder now because I see a lot of homeless people, and before I used to help them a lot. But I've learned the hard way because some of them are not homeless. Like I've seen many people that act homeless, and the next day I see them with a suit. So it's very hard, and it's fine, you know, if people want to do that, that's their decision. But when I meet, let's talk about someone sad. Let's say there's a breakup and this person's crying, which happened. I usually do approach them because I'm a very type of person that if I see someone beating up someone, I'm the one that I shouldn't, but I'm the one that would stick up for the person because I'm quite a protector. I call myself the guardian of the galaxy because I try to protect whether it's a tree, whether it's at a, you know, I'm not one of those annoying people that's gonna force people to do things, but I do like protection. I'm quite a person that people feel safe with me. Um, so yeah, I do like to go. Usually I approach the person. I do a lot of body language, but I try to avoid that because a lot of people are not comfortable with it, especially in England, in London at least, because there's a lot of tricksters. But usually my approach is like, "Are you okay?" And then I start talking, and then I kind of get them to trust me because you can't just expect someone to open up to you. And then when you approach the person, they kind of, you know, even if you do a lot of eye contact, people can see that you're honest. You know, you don't have that angry, negative thing that you're about to do something to them and steal them because they're vulnerable. So yeah, you have to make them feel safe and feel good, and then eventually they start opening up to you. And eventually, if they're approachable, you can give them a hug and just make sure that they're safe. You know, just cry on my shoulder. Don't worry about tears or anything coming out of your face. It's not a problem. Just be yourself, and you just step them on the back, and you give them kind of like a father, mother figure protection, you know. So that's what I like to do usually, and it happens a lot in my life, to be honest. I'm always seeing these things, or something happens, or even animals sometimes. Last time there was a fox in a barbed wire at work. This was back in Essex, and everyone was afraid. There was 20 people, and no one wanted to help. They were like, "Oh, if he bites me, I'm gonna have to go to hospital." I'm like, "Guys, stop thinking about that," which is good. You have to think about this because if the dog actually bites you, I mean, I've been bitten by a dog. You can't really see it on camera, but I have 3 holes there. And I still love dogs. I fell from a horse. I had a concussion. My head was, and I still ride horses. So I'm the type of person that believe every person, every animal has a character. It's not about their breed. It's not about the energy. It's not energy. It's not about, you know, if someone's Indian, all the Indians are bad because every person is different. So you have to approach every person differently depending on their frequencies, depending on their character. Same with animals, you know. And this fox, basically, I kind of calmed it down a bit to show it that I'm not going to attack it. It stayed, it didn't bite me. I removed the barbed wire and I've carried it for a while. It was a bit scared, but it didn't bite me. And then it just went, you know, and I saved it from being killed, I guess, because the barbed wire was full of spikes. And then it just looked back at me and just left, you know. And yeah, why
Oh,
did I get into a fox? I was talking about a person and I switched into a fox. But I think, yeah, sorry, that's just how my mind works. I can focus, but sometimes I go out of subject. I get excited.
not a problem.
But yeah, I think that's it. You know, you use your empathy and you just treat everything as as alive. You know, you treat it with love, whether it's an animal, whether it's a bird, whether it's an ant, whether it's a human. I think everything deserves attention and love and empathy. You know, empathy is such a skill that people lack, and I wish the world have more empathy, because if we had more empathy, we wouldn't have fightings in football stadiums and, you know, fighting for no reason, fighting over one piece of pizza. You know, like, you always have to remember that there's always someone worse than human life, and that's what will make you feel you're safe. You know, I have a room, I have a bed, maybe I don't have much food, it's an example, but I will survive on one loaf of bread for today. You know, some people don't have a loaf of bread for weeks. So
Absolutely.
that's what you always have to put yourself into. You have to put yourself in the dimension, and that's why you have to care about other people and love other people and share love, you know, and respect.
Amazing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love this story about the fox. I love it. I think it's beautiful. Franklin, it's not the end yet. Okay, let's play now the word association game. I'm going to give away some words. Just tell me one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes if it's okay, so I can focus.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game.
Focus.
Absolutely. One word for family.
Love.
One word for money.
Personality, I guess. I know
Okay.
it's
One word for love.
for love.
Yeah, love.
Feelings.
One word for sex.
Energy. Actually, sorry, I'm gonna change that. Chemistry.
One word for politics.
Boring.
One word for religion.
Understanding. Understanding. Or
One word
equal.
for life.
Beauty.
Fear.
Strength.
Friendship.
Care.
Desire.
Attachment.
Regret.
Learning.
Success.
Manifesting.
One word for wish.
Dream.
One word for happiness.
Being yourself.
One word for London.
For London. Roller coaster.
I like that. One word for Malta.
Hope.
And the last one now, acting. One word.
Do, I guess. Do. Or I am. I am. Yeah, I am. I will
Amazing.
use I am.
Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your best friend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friend, define Franklin in one positive word and one negative word only. What your best friend would define you?
Okay. Empathy.
Okay.
Emotions.
All right. Emotions is the negative and empathy the positive.
I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
technically, as a person of what I said earlier, I love emotions. I love darkness because it does teach me a lot. But yeah, I can be sensitive sometimes. I'm a very strong person. Don't take me wrong. I'm like a rock. But I do show the fact that sometimes it's okay to, whether you're a man or a woman or non-binary, it's okay to break down and to cry, whatever. But I've used it as negative because sometimes it does make me feel empty, like when like the day is not always the same, some people are really horrible, and so I get sensitive, and that's what annoys me, because yeah, sometimes I'm overly sensitive, I guess. And the first one I've used was what did I use? Empathy. Yeah, I would say I'm a very empathic person, so sometimes it's an issue because I always put people before me. But now it's kind of changing. I'm trying to focus on myself while loving everyone else around me, because if you don't love yourself, you're not gonna be able to heal other people and yourself.
Absolutely. Right, let's play now Franklin and the magic box, and you can ask me a question. Right, Franklin, you can ask me a question now.
Okay. Oh my God, I have so many questions. I don't know. Can you just let me know if someone asked you this question already, so it doesn't get boring?
No, it's okay. Just ask the first question that comes to your mind.
What inspired you to come to London?
Good question. Good question. Right. I always wanted, as a child, when I was 12 years old, I learned to study English, and I've always been passionate about the language. And since that time when I was 12, 13, I always wanted to live in a country where I could speak English every single day. And of course, I always had this, like you, I had this personality adventure of being very adventurous, to look for my dreams, to get a better life, to help my family back in Brazil. So I always wanted to live in a place where I could find myself, I could be myself. Here I am, after so many years living in a country where I can speak English every single day, where I'm able to help my family, and I'm living a dream. I think that's the main reason why I left my country, and I've been living in London as well. So yeah, that's my answer to you.
That's really beautiful, especially the helping family. I know in Brazil it can be very hard. It's like in other countries, you know, I'm the same. Like, I'm in a place now that I can help my family, but at the moment I'm focused on saving. But yeah, I know in Brazil, like if you live in London and you send money or whatever to Brazil, it's a lot of money, you know. Like I have a friend in South Africa. She just reached out to me once and we became really good friends. And sometimes I do help, you know, because in Africa, like £50 is a lot of money. I don't know if it's the same as Brazil. So I get your point, you know. I guess it makes you feel happy that you're helping. And do you miss your family, or like, do you see your family?
I do. Yes, the thing is, I've learned in life that what you don't have it like around you, you don't miss that much. Of course, I do miss my country, I miss my family, but at the same time as well, I love being where I live, and I love being, you know, the life I have. So at the same time, you cannot have everything. You need to avoid some things. You need to. It's normal. It's life. You're never gonna have everything together. So yes, I love going to Brazil, visit my family, but at the same time as well, I love being here and I have my life. So yes, I've learned that at a very young age, and I think that's what keeps me moving and going forward. It's about.
I'm the same. That's beautiful. I mean, the only thing that scared me is I'm not very conscious of time, because as I said, I'm very present. But I think the only thing that scares me is time, because knowing that you're going back one day and everyone's older, that's the only thing that scares me. But as you said, it's life, and we just have to experience life as it is.
Absolutely.
You know, and I'm really glad you said that. It's beautiful. It was a very beautiful answer.
Franklin, before we finish the interview, if you can say a positive message, something that you live by before we finish.
I think just I'm going to use a very basic one, but it's a very important one to me. No matter how dark you feel, just remember that darkness is your teacher, and eventually after darkness, just like anything else, the light will follow. And I guess after that quote, it just means that no matter how dark you're feeling, eventually you're gonna one day, like your yin yang. Remember, in the yin yang, there's light in every darkness and there's darkness in every light. And once you program yourself to realize that darkness and light are the same, you're complete, because you just learn and just that's basically the quote behind it. Just everything is a lesson. Once you're alive, everything is a lesson, you know. No matter what you're going through, breakups, money issues, everything's a lesson, and one day you're going to be okay. That's a long one, but yeah.
Amazing. I love it. Franklin, thanks so much for the interview. It was a pleasure to connect with you, and as to Ireland one day, my goodness, we live in the same city.
We should definitely hang out for a coffee or a cocktail, whatever.
Absolutely. Keep in touch, and thanks so much for the interview. It was a pleasure, okay? Enjoy your evening.
Me too. Thank you, and thank you also for the interview. I'm so excited to see your show.
Thank you so much. We keep in touch, okay? Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.